Size does matter. At least that's something most families would agree on. To mark its 50th birthday, BMW M gifts itself the XM, a true behemoth for families with high expectations, the most powerful BMW ever made. But is it as sporty as other M cars, despite its bulk? Quieter, but just as aggressive looking, the all-electric Kia EV9. Our family check will reveal if this could be the best EV for big families. This 2.7-ton beast hits 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.3 seconds. Meet the BMW XM, the most powerful M car ever, and the first ground-up M model since the legendary M1.
Imagine being BMW's performance division, and it's your 50th anniversary. You want to build something truly special, not something based on a current model. I would go for a sports car, maybe even a hypercar, aerodynamic, a monster engine, and lightweight. But this is what they came up with. The XM, a flagship SUV, aiming at the Aston Martin DBX, Bentley Bentayga, and Lamborghini Urus. But this M stands for motorsport. So is this a true performer, like its name implies, or more of a comfy cruiser for the Côte d'Azur?
BMW wants to compete at the top of the luxury performance SUV world, a market that's more competitive than ever. Despite its weight, the XM promises unmatched agility. Does it deliver? And what does the community think? More on that soon. On paper, it sounds like a supercar. 653 horsepower and 800 Newton meters from a 4.4-liter V8 plug-in hybrid. The Red Label edition packs 748 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters. That makes it the most powerful BMW in history. But it also weighs 2.7 tons. That's like two BMW 1 Series. And the price? Over 178,000 euros in Germany, enough to buy 5 1 Series. BMW now also offers a smaller plug-in hybrid version, the XM50e, starting at 132,000 euros.
Only around 10% of all XMs are expected to be sold in Europe. The vehicle concept was designed with China, the USA, and the Emirates in mind. And those markets have a very different idea of driving comfort. Europeans tend to prefer a firmer, tighter setup. They want to feel the road. The other markets, however, like things a bit softer. And here, you can sense that compromise. Of course, the car wants to be sporty and earn that M in its name. But especially in the steering, you can tell it's just a bit too soft for me to truly consider it a performance vehicle. That really reflects who the target markets are.
And with its bold styling, the XM fits better into cityscapes in the US or Asia. It's all about making a statement. Illuminated kidney grills, massive 23-inch wheels, the biggest ever on a BMW. And don't miss the 2 BMW logos in the rear window, a nod to the original M1's dual badge design. The M1 was unveiled in 1978, a mid-engine sports car built by BMW Motorsport GmbH, the ancestor of all M cars today. Designed by Giugiaro, only 460 M1s were made. It was the most expensive new German car of its time. The XM likely won't achieve that legendary status. But its craftsmanship and luxury are undeniable. Everything is leather-wrapped. The roofliner with prism-like patterns and ambient lighting is a real eye-catcher.
The XM polarizes, especially with its exterior. It is a statement. That's why it surely finds a lot of approval within its target group. But on the other hand, it offers plenty of room for criticism. In front of environmentalists, I'd rather hide my XM in the garage. Otherwise, in the morning, it might be covered in paint, missing a mirror, or even set on fire. We asked the community, what do you think of the XM? And we got some great comments that I don't want to withhold from you. For example, I'm disappointed. The BMW kidney grille is too narrow. I assume the person meant this a bit ironically. The grills are actually quite large, and BMW is often criticized or made fun of for the fact that the grills keep getting bigger. But with this gigantic vehicle, I actually think the proportions kind of work. Someone else writes, one of the ugliest rear ends ever. Even the Multipla had more style in comparison. Harsh words.
The XM is the first full M GmbH development since the M1. Built to mark 50 years of M history. But unlike the M1, which redefined the supercar in 1978 and became iconic, the XM leans more toward luxury than pure performance. Does that even fit M's brand DNA?
Back in the 70s, sports cars were all the rage. Every brand had a sports car on the market. Now it's SUVs that are in demand, and more specifically, luxury SUVs. There's also a growing group of buyers who say, I want the best of the best. A BMW X5M just isn't good enough for me. And for this group of buyers, BMW, or rather BMW M GmbH, put the XM on the road. BMW clearly wants to win new customers here. Customers who might previously have driven a Bentayga, or maybe even a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, who then say, oh, a BMW. That looks cool, I'll take it.
So, BMW is taking on giants like the Bentley Bentayga, Lamborghini Urus, and Aston Martin DBX. The DBX 707 offers 707 horsepower from a 4-litre V8, but starts at nearly 250,000 euros, 80,000 more than the BMW. The Lamborghini Urus is 15,000 euro more than the Aston and offers 666 horsepower, only slightly more than the XM. Bentley's hybrid Bentayga has a similar drivetrain concept as the XM, but just 449 horsepower. Starts at just over 200,000 euros. Closer in price is the Porsche Cayenne Turbo e-hybrid with 739 horsepower. But in terms of size and space, that's more comparable to the smaller BMW X5. In this context, the XM almost seems like a bargain, but can it really hold its own in the luxury segment?
Now let's take a look at the interior. When you get in, you definitely get that wow effect at first. Everything is finished to the highest standard, everything is wrapped in beautiful leather, and there's carbon fiber too, especially when you get into the back. It feels like stepping into a luxury lounge. Here comes the big but. The difference compared to other M models, which are positioned lower in the lineup, isn't all that huge when it comes to the cockpit. I would have wished for a greater distinction, so that you could really say, okay, this car plays in the same league as a Bentley or an Aston Martin. In terms of look and image, it just falls a bit short.
The XM is a luxury tank in a tracksuit. Thanks to roll stabilization, M Sport differential, and adaptive suspension, it hides its weight pretty well and remains fun to drive.
Let's switch to M mode. See if it gets more emotional. With a bit more pedal, you get a nice engine note too. That's nice. It brings a smile to your face, but it doesn't blow you away.
Now, let's talk efficiency. Every 2.7-ton SUV driver's favorite topic. The good news first. Depending on spec, the XM can go 82 to 88 kilometers fully electric. Official fuel consumption? A theoretical 1.9 liters per 100 kilometers. But what if the battery's empty? Hybrid performance has its perks, but also adds serious weight.
We reset the average consumption once the battery was drained. Running on the engine alone, it uses 13 to 14 liters per 100 kilometers. That's your realistic average if you don't charge every day.
BMW's official figure is 12.9 liters on an empty battery, slightly better than our result. Given its size and power, that's acceptable, but it's no eco-champion.
With its 2.7-ton wardrobe on wheels, BMW has of course given itself the toughest conditions for creating a truly performance-oriented car. The vehicle is, and remains, a compromise. You can definitely feel that, and it wasn't to be expected otherwise. But accordingly, it also didn't really surprise us. We can place it on a scale from Lamborghini to Bentley. If the Lamborghini Urus is the sportiest, the Aston Martin DBX sits in the middle, and the Bentley Bentayga is the most luxurious, then the XM positions itself somewhere between the Bentley and the Aston Martin. So we don't have a pure performer here, but rather a luxury SUV with sporty pretensions.
Would a sports car have drawn more attention than just another SUV? Maybe, but sales figures from 2023 in Germany prove BMW right. The XM outsold Urus, Bentayga, and DBX. Kia drops another electric bombshell. Long range, fast charging, tons of space. Things still rare in the EV world. The EV9 aims to fix that and targets families with 2 or more kids. Is this SUV every parent's electric dream? Or is there a catch? And what are the alternatives? With the EV6, Kia already earned solid EV street cred. It delivered what electric fans want.
The EV6 launched in 2021, a mid-size crossover SUV with serious presence. It doesn't just look good, it boasts up to 530 kilometers of range and cutting-edge 800-volt fast charging tech. Only Porsche's Taycan had that before, at a much higher price. Now Kia takes the next step, the EV9. 2 sizes up, seating for up to 7, and again, over 500 kilometers of range. Families, take note. Your dream EV might just be here.
Time for our family check. What matters to families, and does Kia deliver? Our checklist: space, safety, running costs, and road trip readiness. The entry-level EV9 has rear-wheel drive and 204 horsepower. Range 563 kilometers. All-wheel drive versions get punchier, 385 horsepower and 600 Newton-meters of torque. In GT line trim, even 700 Newton-meters. But that power costs range, max 512 kilometers. It also comes with a 6-seat option. We test the all-wheel drive GT line model in southern France. Its bold design echoes full-size American SUVs like the Cadillac Escalade, big, boxy, and modern. Under the long hood, a frunk for charging cables. The charging port is at the rear right.
First on our checklist, and arguably most important, space. The EV9 nails it. Look at that. Even with the 6-seat layout, there's loads of room. 333 liters in the back, enough for a crate of water, 5 gym bags, and soccer gear for juniors away game. Plus, a hidden storage area under the floor for the parcel shelf. To visualize it, let's fit in 2 carry-ons. Okay, maybe sideways. Yep, our whole equipment fits back here. Impressive. Let me take it out again, because there's more. The third row folds down at the push of a button, giving you 828 liters. Nice. But here's the kicker. Fold the middle row too, and you get nearly 2,400 liters. That's van territory. Throw in some blankets, and it becomes a sleepover van for post-game naps.
And stepping inside, credit where it's due. Kia goes full premium. Materials and build quality feel upscale. Inside, it's all recycled materials instead of leather. Looks fancy, easy to clean. Front and center, a standard 12.3-inch screen with navigation and 6 free over-the-air updates. Even the base model is packed with goodies, heated and cooled seats front and back.
You get into this car and you feel like you're on a ship. The dimensions of this vehicle, whether on a small street in France or in a parking garage, can definitely be a challenge. It feels less designed for the European market and much more for the American and Asian markets. You can also sense that in the driving behavior. The dynamics, this buttery smooth suspension. It really is a premium setup. Not only is the car whisper quiet inside, but the asphalt practically disappears beneath it. But dynamics aren't really the most important thing in a car like this, in a family car, I'd say. Much more important is the second point on our family checklist, safety. And that's why we're now going to drive straight into a tree and see what happens. No, of course not. Just kidding. But the feeling you get sitting up here, you're high up, surrounded by plenty of crumple zones. It all feels very safe.
The Euro NCAP crash test backs that up. Full 5 stars for the 2.5 tons behemoth. Especially impressive, 88% score for child safety. Another key concern for families, running costs. Raising a kid to 18 costs about 150,000 euros. So low car expenses help. Electric vehicles are tax-free in many countries. And with fewer parts to wear out, maintenance is up to 35% cheaper than gas cars. How about consumption?
The rear-wheel drive EV9 is rated at 20.2 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. Our all-wheel drive GT line, 22.8 kilowatt-hours. Not super low, but with 2.5 to 2.7 tons to move, it's expected. Let's peek into our real-world consumption log. It fluctuates a lot, sometimes over 30, but sometimes, like here, as low as 11 kilowatt-hours over 19 kilometers. That's really good. It was probably downhill. On average, we saw just over 20 kilowatt-hours, so the rating is pretty realistic.
Even if the figure is honest, the consumption is high, as expected. So what's the competition like in the 6 to 7-seater EV space? Rivals mainly come from China and the US, like Rivian. The R1S also seats 7, but weighs a hefty 3.2 tons. It uses about 27 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. 7 more than the EV9. In the US, it starts at $76,000, 21,000 more than an EV9 in the US. Chinese brand NIO goes all out on luxury. Their EL8 costs 83,000 euros with 6 seats and a 75 kilowatt-hour battery. But you rent the battery for 170 euros per month. The upside, instead of charging, you swap the battery in 5 minutes at special stations. This 2.5-ton SUV consumes around 21 to 23 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, a bit more than the Kia. The Kia's nearly 100 kilowatt-hour battery delivers about 500 kilometers of range. And if that's not enough, it fast charges at 210 kilowatts, 10 to 80% in just 24 minutes. But the competitors also manage over 200 kilowatts. So how family-friendly is the EV9 really? We've already covered space, safety, and cost.
And I've just stopped to talk about comfort and special features. And there's quite a lot to show. The rear doors open almost 90 degrees, super helpful for buckling in kids. And speaking of that, ISOFIX anchors are in both the second and third rows. Back in my day, we stuck towels in the windows to block the sun. Now, built-in sunshades, standard. The second row is super flexible. Those rotating seats VW dropped in the T7, they're back here in the EV9. Great for helping kids or passengers with limited mobility. You can slide them back and forth too, and yes, I can actually fit in the third row. As an adult at 1.9 meters tall. Respect. 1, 2, and 3. No matter where you sit, front, middle, or back, USB-C ports are everywhere. Crucial for keeping phones and tablets charged on long drives. And on long trips, you need storage for snacks, drinks, and more. And there's plenty here. Check out this giant center console. Drinks, a purse, even a small backpack would fit. Here there are big cup holders as well. And we also have something for the kids in the back. In the middle aisle, you could place a cooler bag. There's also a pull-out tray or a huge storage bin.
All these comfort features make the EV9 a top pick for road trips and long distances. Another bonus, a 2.5-ton towing capacity, rare for an EV. Kia has created a compelling package for travel-loving families. Inside and out, the EV9 steps confidently into premium territory. The catch? Likely the price. 72,500 euros to start, a first for a Kia. A steep ask for many families, but it's the same across the competition.
And with that, I'd honestly say, despite the high entry price compared to its competitors, you could almost call it a bargain. You have to keep in mind, this is premium. This has nothing to do with the Kias we knew from the early 2000s. And now for the family check, it really passed with flying colors. It comes with very generous standard features, a big battery, lots of space, and a bold and confident design. I have to say, when it comes to family-friendly options in the electric segment, there's hardly anything better at the moment.